You guys probably have all heard about levels like How by Sputniks and other really weird but impressive levels. These, however, are already way too known by the community, so I decided to find the most extremely strange or weird creations nobody knows about. These creations will get more confusing and crazy later on in the video, so be sure to watch until the end. I hope you enjoy. To start off not too crazy, we're going to take a look at something that some of you might know. The shortest length after creating a level is tiny, with the level being less than 9 seconds long. All of these short levels aren't rated, since most of them need to be at least 30 seconds long. But a while back I saw this picture, which weirded me out, since when I checked the level Stick Figure Maze, it was more than a minute long. Well, apparently you can actually make a tiny rated level by copying an already existing level. This immediately changes the length from any length to tiny, and some creators did exactly this by copying their own levels for some reason. This, however, is nothing too crazy, so let's continue the journey to find the strangest level. When I say the hardest level ever made, you probably think about the top 1 hardest level right now, Slaughterhouse. This has changed dozens of times over the last couple of years, starting from the beginning of the game with the level Demon Park, the first ever hardest demon to exist. Everyone thought that, until a video recently popped up in my recommended. You see, there's one unrated level named F made by Player. It has some very tight corridors and some really unbalanced gameplay. This level was made in update 1.0, way before Demon Park was uploaded, which means this actually was the first top 1 demon instead of Demon Park, even though it never got its actual demon difficulty rating. Still, with today's standards, this wouldn't even be a medium demon. However, the next level I'll talk about shatters both the medium demon category and all the other demon categories in one try. This creation was named GIF Chamber, and it is one of the hardest levels to be possible. The level though stands out from every single impossible level for 2 reasons. The first one being that it is really short, which makes you question why stuff like this could even be one of the hardest things to ever be created. And the second one is this click right here. You see, there's no way of a person beating this normally, since you will just die on the first frame. You actually need 4 million frames per second to have a shot at beating this single wave click, which means you have less than 1/1,000,000th of a second to react to a single click. So even though it is just 2 seconds long, not one human has or is going to beat this anytime soon. From here on though, it will start to get really weird. Collect all 8 keys is a level with a very strange mechanism. Your goal is to collect 8 keys as the immediate thought. When opening the level, however, you are surprised with a bunch of keys everywhere, 6,397 in total. It turns out collecting the keys is the easiest task to do, and it is even easier than you think, which you immediately notice when hitting the first key. Instead of collecting 1 key, you can actually pick up everything around you. This is done by a bug that somehow increases the height of your icon significantly, so you are now able to pick up all the keys. Before we get into some really strange stuff, let me talk about an unknown level that did the impossible. Well, 2 of them, and whilst not being too strange, it still makes you feel baffled. 5 years ago, a creator by the name of Samsar made a specific function that normally is on your calculator, a geometry reality. By using an extremely large amount of triggers, he made it possible to make a graph in GD, with more than 2 million different graphs being possible, and it looks really smooth. Years later though, an upgraded version was made with more options and different sort of curves by Illuminati, which really makes you wonder how far this game can truly go. Alright, as of right now, 2.2 still is not out. It has been way too many years to even remember the latest updates, but everyone is still really hyped about the new update. They apparently are so hyped that some of them found methods to implement things that are possible in 2.2 in this update. One level though has a method used in it that wouldn't even be a feature in the certain 2.2 update, let alone in the next 10 Geometry Dash updates. First, you are jumping over some simple triple spikes, but you immediately notice a robot portal under you, which is strange. When finally passing the triple spikes, you die, and what happened next is really odd. You are now on the second layer of the level, and even when you keep restarting, you stay at this layer. This is the case because of a bug being used that saves the game at a certain point, which makes you able to eventually beat all 4 stages and defeat the level. From here on out though, I'm going to talk about stuff that even the people I talked to couldn't explain. I'm going to start off with the hardest one to explain, Turing machine. And believe me, I'll do it as best as I can, but it's really hard, believe me. This is the least known level on the list with 55 plays, and there's not a lot to it, besides some visible collision triggers and some random words. The creator of this level said to me, however, that this is the first level that is possible and not possible at the same time. It basically is an emulator where other games can be made on, and there's a huge amount of code used in this level. The problem is that the math in this code just can't decide if the level is possible or not, which is really weird to explain. So far though, it still is not yet possible to beat. What if I told you about a level that can only be beaten on a certain device? 0% of the people who have an iPhone, for example, can beat this level right here, which is really weird. The creator of it somehow used the bug to make this level only possible when playing GD on a Windows version. And if you use something else than Windows, you will die at 58% into the level. And when we check out the creator tab, nothing is off except for one certain block in the level. So how does this work exactly? Well, in this level a tricky bug was used, which made a certain block at 58% have a value that makes the hitbox from the cube cover the entire vertical row in the editor, which makes it impossible. However, on Windows this bug doesn't work, which makes you not die from this evil block right here and only makes it possible on Windows. The most mysterious level on the list was made by Javen229, and it is unexplainable. This was a level made to test the random trigger, which has been done multiple times by other creators, but this one is slightly different. When entering the level, it seems like the random trigger just doesn't work, since it is meant to show different colors each time, but it only shows the green color no matter how many times you try. The mysterious part comes into play when taking a peek into the editor again. At first, nothing comes off as out of the ordinary, until you start playtesting the level. Now the level still isn't randomized, but instead of just showing a green pulse, it also shows random black pulses that weren't even meant to be in the level. And it is one out of the 2 unexplainable things on this list. You now are probably wondering what the second one might be, so let's talk about that one. Pecco is a famous player known to be the person who verified the legendary level Silent Clubstep. He is very known because of this, but he is way less known for another thing he did. Finding really obscure bugs. He found a couple of weird ones, but one stood out from the rest, which happened with a certain level that even he couldn't explain. In this level that was named Hi Twitter, you die relatively quickly at 4.33%, and you have to keep that percentage in mind. The next attempt though, you basically die immediately, but way quicker, and this death happens exactly 217 times faster than the first attempt. This was found on complete accident, and to this day no explanation has been found, which is one of the oddest things I have ever seen. There is one more level to cover, the strangest in my opinion, since what happened here was done by complete luck. The thing that sets this level apart from everything on the list though, is that there actually is nothing wrong with the level at all, since it just looks like your typical recent level. The thing we have to focus on here is the description. What is written here might look like some random letters and symbols, but in actuality it's something completely different. These are lost lines of code that were used to create something that will make this text change into this text coloring it. Something went wrong though, and completely out of the creators their grasp, a really weird thing was created. When collapsing the level with this button, nothing happens yet, but when clicking the information button, the level simply crashes, making this the only level out of everything I have seen where the description crashes the entire game. I hope you enjoyed and be sure to like and maybe even subscribe. Goodbye.